Why do a lot of the people I meet online who have ADHD, autism, tend to be in the LGBTQ community? There's a scientific correlation that people with gender identity variances are more likely to be autistic compared to general population statistics. The rates of being transgender are way higher than normal in a sample group of autistic people. And same goes for the rates of transgender sample groups being autistic. I think it's due to the autistic brain functioning differently than that of a neurotypical. They're less likely to innately understand, and more importantly in this context, relate to social norms. So it makes sense that gender norms wouldn't come naturally to all of them. That disconnect can then cause them to not feel comfortable in their gender identity. I'm not sure what the correlation is between autism and sexual orientation. But I know that there's a link between autism and gender identity variance. There's a bunch of theories, but the most plausible one is that autistic people tend to care less about social norms and are able to be more open about how they feel. You can't really tell if someone is LGBT until they come out or give indicators. So it's likely that it's about the same. But the more visible ones tend to be autistic because they don't care about blending in as much. Autistic queer guy here. Sometimes it's just coincidence. But there's also some scientific backing that neurodivergent people are more likely to have some gender, sexuality variations. Also, in the context of being online, it's the internet. Lots of people of different backgrounds converge together over one specific shared trait. So you're probably seeing a lot more queer ND people than you would if you were to organize a group in your city or something of that nature. There's just a sense of community in it as well that both ND and queer people are just drawn to. And they can relate to one another and oftentimes overlap. Both often misrepresented, shunned, seen as weird. It's the solidarity as well. Here's the deal. You are outside the norm. This makes other people uncomfortable. So you therefore spend a lot of time introspectively looking at yourself and why you are different. Digging into who and what you are. Because you're obviously not like everyone else. Congrats! You have just understood the process of coming to terms with being neurodivergent and/or LGBTQ. But wait, if you're going through one, you're very likely going to figure out the second in short order. It's not that a lot of LGBTQ people are neurodivergent, or that a lot of neurodivergent people are LGBTQ. It's just that both groups are more likely to realize they are the other than the rest of society. Hey, autistic trans plus queer man here. For me personally, I think it's BC I've realized, partly BC of my autism, that no matter how much I try to appease other people, there are certain people who will just never like me. It's made me just not care what others think about me, so I'm unashamed in being these things. I think some people deny that they are queer because of what others would think of them. But when you've been hated by so many people just for existing already, that doesn't matter. Autistic people are also generally more open with what they are and what they like. Just think about cringe culture. Most of it is just making fun of how neurodiverse people act and enjoy, like. We're used to being hated for simply expressing ourselves in a way that they personally don't like or find annoying. Edit. Now watch me get downvoted. BC I answered the question as the demographic that the question this is about. I know too many PPL that were not professionally diagnosed, they just self-diagnose from certain TikToks that make you seem awkward but cool, quirky. It's kind of annoying. I'm willing to bet people who are in tune with their sexuality being different from straight, cisgendered are also probably in tune regarding their mental health being different from others also. Could be because they seek therapy more than other groups. And you need to seek therapy before you can be diagnosed. I'm the mom of 2 with ASD. One is LGBTQ plus the other is not. What they say is that we are accepting and L them so they aren't afraid. I'm gonna go with that. LGBTQ plus folks aren't unfamiliar with facing discrimination, being misunderstood, or experiencing trauma, if not them personally, through other LGBTQ plus friends. Speaking as a queer person myself, it's just easier, more acceptable to talk about. It's not that more LGBTQ plus have these diagnoses. It's just more of an open secret within the community. Then on the flip side, the openness and acceptance of talking about mental health and diagnosis may encourage others to consider their own identities, leading them to open up to themselves more and discovering their LGBTQ+. The long story short is when one community openly talks about and accepts one things, the more folks will be drawn to open up about other things as well. Marginalized people often tend to find each other. 7.2% of the U.S. population are transgender. 2.2% of the U.S. population are autistic. Approximately 9% of the U.S. population have ADHD. Everyone these days needs to have a label. Many diagnose themselves. I have also noticed a notable frequency in this in terms of people in community, not just gay, bi, which is an intersection correlation law, and I'll leave it at that. But for ADHD, it seems to be on the more severe end. Not the I have a little more moderate inability to focus, extra energy. Speaking as a lesbian ADHDer here. As I got more comfortable with being out as a lesbian, I also got more comfortable discussing personal stuff like neurodivergency. I'm sure there are some more specific correlations, but it could be that people who are comfortable opening up about one thing will be more comfortable opening up about the other, too, which makes you see it together more often.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.